One of the real advantages of electric cooperatives membership is having a voice in our state's energy future.
Not a week goes by without important energy issues making headlines. These are issues that need to be discussed. And you should know that as policies are being developed, the cooperatives are looking out for our members, advocating what's best for you.
We are your friends and neighbors.
We are your local electric company.
The electric cooperatives.
We are Arkansas.
You're watching Capitol View, Sunday morning talk focused on the political scene in Arkansas.
And welcome back to Capitol View. I'm David Goins alongside Roby Brock. We are now joined by our political long table this morning. We have State Senator David Johnson from Little Rock and State Senator Jane English from North Little Rock. Thank you very much for both of y'all joining us.
Thank you.
All right, first question, I'm going to throw it to either one of you that wants to go first. You heard Erica G., Chief of Staff for the Arkansas Attorney General Dustin McDaniel's office, really kind of say what the catalyst was for this deseg settlement to come through. Sounds like it was Dr. Suggs, the new superintendent in the Little Rock Schools District. What's your reaction to what she had to say?
I think it's great and shows a lot about Dr. Suggs. I attended a meeting with Dr. Suggs back a couple of months ago, and he was talking about his interest in trying to resolve the case once and for all. And I walked away from that meeting really believing he was sincere, and no doubt he was.
Jane?
I agree. I think he's been a real catalyst for moving things along. He was new to the area, but he has a good understanding of what's going on in the Little Rock school system and the whole desegregation. And I think that he really was an important cog in getting this moving.
Obviously, the state has 4 more years of essentially $65 million payments to the 3 districts divvied up, accordingly. From your perspective as a legislator, I didn't hear much when this was presented as far as any problems with this amount of money, but I mean it's still a significant state investment for 4 years, Senator English.
It is a huge investment, but it is also, we've already spent, put forward over almost $1 billion or maybe more. And I think for legislators that aren't from this area, I think that they were more than happy to see this come to a conclusion, or a possible conclusion, so that these districts can be districts just like the Camden or Hot Springs or any other school district around the state.
That's right. It's been going on for such a long time, and for years there's been a widespread sentiment at the legislature that it's time to be done with it. And I think in the minds of many legislators, it was going to keep going forever. So even though there is 4 more years of payments involved, I think there is a lot of satisfaction at the Capitol that there is an ending in sight.
What happens for the next 4 years, though? If you get this final sign off from the judge on this, is it even something that you can't plan for it? You're going to be doing budgets for the next fiscal year, maybe the year after that. 4 years is an eternity in the state budgeting process. So what's the dialogue? And obviously the money is tied, when it does finally run out, to a grocery tax repeal.
I really don't think there'll be much of a dialogue. I think that even in the past, even though there's been grumbling about having to make these payments at the Capitol, it's been done as a matter of process just because the state has had to do it as part of the settlement. And so I think that over the next 4 years, I don't think there'll be that much grumbling because there'll be an end in sight, and I think those payments will be made and they'll be budgeted for as a matter of process.
Does it ultimately go to repeal the grocery tax, the new money?
I think so. At the end of after the 4 years is up.
You wouldn't see anybody wanting to tinker or change that?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I think that was the deal. When the desegregation payments are finished, that's when the final installment of the grocery tax kicks in, and I think that will happen.
Okay, so the state extracts itself in 4 years from this, from this case. This case ends, but you represent Little Rock, you represent North Little Rock, probably parts of PCSSD. You're in your territory. Are these districts healthy? I mean, how do you know these districts are running maybe the way they should, with or without state involvement or federal involvement?
I think they will be, and I think one of the great things about the settlement, even though that the state has to continue making payments for the next few years, it gives time to the school districts to prepare for that. I believe the plans that at least the Little Rock School District has in place for the next few years will put them in a position, once that time is over, to be even in a healthier position because of the facilities that they're working on, particularly the school out in West Little Rock, the middle school, which will bring needed added revenue to the school district. So from at least this preliminary standpoint, I think that they will be in good shape going forward.
And from North Little Rock's perspective, yes, unitary for a few years, PCSSD still not. What do you want to see from those districts to make sure they stay vibrant?
I see a lot of good things. I'm particularly pleased that, you know, after 30 years, Jacksonville is going to be able to have their own school district, which I think is very, very important. And they worked on it it's been going on for 30 years, but it's probably been the last 5 years that they have really been doing everything they possibly can to have their, and at one point in time, Jacksonville was a premier school here in the state, and until this desegregation started. So I think it gives them an opportunity. I think the Pulaski County Special School District, without Jacksonville over there, I think it helps them in some instances because they just have less students and less facilities to worry about, particularly facilities that are not in very good shape, which is one of the problems with the unitary, them becoming unitary, is the shape of the buildings, and so many times those facilities are really not very good.
Yeah, PCSSD can pour more money into the facilities, let Jacksonville do their thing. Do you see either Maumelle or Sherwood shearing off? Because there's been some rumblings about that.
I think that's something that they have an interest in, and according to the settlement, they can't, the state would not support them trying to go off into their own school district until after Pulaski County Special School District has been declared unitary. So, you know, that could come next year, that might be 5 years from now, but in the meantime, if that's what they want to do, then they need to prepare to do that.
So what do all of the school districts involved do now to deal with the issue of race? Because that is clearly what was at the core of this whole case to begin with.
Well, it's an issue that the school districts have to keep dealing with and being intentional about going forward. I think that the measures made by the districts, particularly in the recent past, have gone a long way toward dealing with those issues. And there will still be plenty of incentive for the school districts to do it. The law is going to incentivize them, and the potential for new plaintiffs down the road to bring a suit about the status of the districts, I think will continue to incentivize them too. So it'll continue to be an issue, but I think there's plenty of incentive for the districts to keep dealing with it.
All right, we've got to get into it there. Sorry, that was the last word on that. So, all right, State Senator David Johnson, State Senator Jane English, thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you.
We're going to be back to wrap things up after a quick break from our sponsors. I'm Roby Brock alongside David Goings. You're watching Capitol View on Sunday morning on KARK.